steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the first 5 steps of TAE you now understand. Okay, then we come to 6, 7, and 8. And that's the second part of TAE. And the word to name that whole section is pattern. What's a pattern? A pattern is something that can happen more than once. When you look at any actual event, any actual moment, any actual occurring, a moment of living, an incident, something that happened, is very intricate, I call it. Intricate is just another word for complicated, complex, rich. So in there, you can find many patterns. Okay, let's make some simple examples. I'm sitting here, you're sitting over there. I'm talking and you're listening, right? This is the classroom pattern, the teaching pattern, right? We use it all the time. It's the only way we can have millions of people and bring them up to some basic level, is to have a few people doing the teaching and a mass of people who are passive and they have to listen. You can't listen just to me. You're listening to a guy who's set up to talk, you know. If I meet you on the street and I talk to you this long, you wouldn't stand for it, because that's a different pattern. Day before yesterday there was an eclipse of the moon here. Did anybody know that? That's a pattern, right? Why is it a pattern? Well, you got 2 things, and then you have a third thing shining light, and so when this middle one gets in between, then you get a shadow. Well, that's a pattern. In the pattern part, we say, give us some examples, some real events, some incidents, the time when, incidents that relate to the felt sense of what you want to say, of course. So very often when I do this, somebody says, well, it happens all the time with my mother or with my wife or with my husband or something. I say, no, pick one time. One time? It happens all the time. Well, okay, but we need one time. Well, it happens when he comes home. He walks in the door and then we have this argument. I said, no, when was the last time it happened? Well, it happens every day. No, one time I want. Do you see what I'm after? Because if she takes the time the day before yesterday, then it has this richness. Then she can go in there and can say, oh, he went straight from the front door to the kitchen and he didn't pay any attention to me. And he poured himself a drink or whatever it is. And only after that did he say even hello. Well, or whatever she finds. You see what I'm saying? So if you pick a real event, then it has all these patterns in it. How do you pick a pattern to work with? Well, it has to connect with the felt sense. So it has to be, this is how it works. So then step 6, 7, and 8 give you more detail, more richness, more complexity, more intricacy, more terms, more relationships, more things. To make it simple, the second part of TAE has to do with patterns, and you pick is the wrong word. You pick, make, find, create, discover. I'll come back to that spot. A pattern that you say, this is the pattern I want to keep. So if somebody comes and says, I'll give you $20, don't use this pattern, you would say, no, I don't sell it for $20. If somebody comes and says, I give you $20,000, yes, then we'll find another pattern. Okay? It's like that. Because the thing is so rich that you can find many patterns that actually give you this, And they will all have something in common. They will all bring the felt sense. So it isn't as if you have to pick the right pattern. It has to be a pattern that brings this. And we ask you to have 4 different examples. 3 new ones and the one you find right away. So when you take those examples, then you have many more terms, many more pieces to use. And then you can say a lot. And then typically people who say, I have this thing and I've never been able to talk about it, by the time you get the end of step 8, you can talk about it. You will talk about it all year to everybody who... And then at step 9, we leave you free, write something. And then that's the end of TAE for most people.